So, as you can see here, I have a lot of pins. These have all been collected from various sources over several years. I don't wear them super often. In fact, most of the time, the only way that I'm wearing them is with this beauty. This is my Ita Bag, but I've had it for a few years. I got it on Amazon a while back because the Ita Bag trend was pretty popular a few years ago. It hasn't died out, it's just not as crazy in now as it was before. I think now it's reached a point where it's much more popular in North America and in Europe, whereas in Japan it's really difficult to actually find them in high street shops and stuff. But I specifically wanted to get a bag that wasn't a heart, because the heart was the shape that most of them had. So I found this beautiful silver iridescent or holographic, which I could go on a diatribe of why I don't like the name holographic for all the holographic stuff. The word you're looking for is iridescent. Get with it, people. Anyway, I wanted one that wasn't a heart, so I found this beautiful one. The material on the inside is black, and it's got glitter in the, I guess it's vinyl, the clear material on the front. And it's a decent size. It's not the best quality construction, but it was a fairly inexpensive one on Amazon. I'm not mad about it. Today, I am going to make some custom panel inserts for the Ita Bag to put the pins on almost permanently. You know, I've just realized that I am missing like half of my pins because I didn't grab my Disney World lanyard. Hang on. I have 2 lanyards with more pins. Yeah, I have a lot of pins and I want to properly display them. However, I have too many to fit on a single panel, and the material that they used in the backpack here is not a material that I trust to last much longer with constant pinning and repinning. Plus, it's not very fun to have to dig all the way into the bag just to attach the pin and, you know, just do your best to position it here. So, I went on Spoonflower and found a bunch of really cute cotton prints. I'm gonna figure out the size and dimensions of the front of the bag, figure out the exact size and shape of the star window, because I'm gonna do something special on the panel to denote the edges of the viewing window there. And yeah, I'm gonna make like 5, 6 interchangeable panels for all of my pins. And that way when I want to change out pins, I can do it just flat on the table instead of having to finagle kind of blindly inside the bag. Let's do this. As I said before, I already went on Spoonflower and ordered the fabric for this project. I've been sitting on it for a while now because I was trying to get Kim done. I love all of these prints. I found some really unique ones that I never would have found anywhere else. The first 2, which are going to be for my Disney pins, are these that are inspired by the surface of Spaceship Earth at Epcot. One of them will be for pins specifically from the parks. I will probably put the park pins on the day one and the etc. ones, the miscellaneous ones, on this one. I then have these 2 inspired by the Haunted Mansion, because that is one of my favorite rides, one of my favorite attractions at Walt Disney World. This one is the wallpaper. And then I have this stripe, which is inspired by the Maid cast members' uniform at the attraction. These 2 are going to be for all of my spooky and Halloween themed pins. This is my Slytherin stripe. This is going to be for the Harry Potter related pins. And then lastly, for all the pins that don't fit the previous mentioned categories, I have just a very pretty purple and pink and blue galaxy print. Yeah, that's kind of the plan. I did also get this stuff. It's Ultra Firm Stabilizer. I'm not sure what it's typically used for. I'm sure it's used for something that just I've never done. It's like probably for hats or certain kinds of shoes or just anything that you need to be really stiff. This is going to be the backing for my panels because this will be fairly sturdy and should put up with the pinning and repinning, and that way I know my panels will be stiff enough that they'll stand up against the front of the bag on their own, and I'm not having to pin through cardboard. There are videos online of other people doing DIY panels like this, but normally, at least the ones that I've seen, they took a piece of cardboard and taped or stapled or pinned or glued fabric onto the cardboard and then used that, which isn't bad, but I don't have that much cardboard laying around that's really thin enough to use for this. I don't know, I kind of just wanted to sew it instead because sewing's what I'm good at, so why not? Let's get going with that, shall we? As you can see, I have gotten the edge of the pattern. Like I said, it's really not difficult. I am now going to clean this up as best I can. I now have two patterns where once there was one. I used my nifty rotary cutter, which I've been using a lot more lately, to cut it out. That way it would be a nice, smooth, clean edge, clean curves as best as possible. I will trace this bad boy onto some spare manila paper. From there, I will go ahead and cut out one panel of the stabilizer and stick that in the backpack and see how it fits. And if it's too wide, if it's too tall, I will slowly trim off until I have what fits. Once I have one that fits, I can use that as the pattern for the other 5. I think I'm gonna cut the fabric with a 1-inch allowance so that I can fold the edges over to the back and stitch from that side, just so that there is a finished edge. I am also going to serge all of them before I attach them to the stabilizer, just to make sure that nothing frays too easily. I need to change out my thread because it still has my attempt at khaki coloring from Kim's pants. Okay friends, it is a few hours later. Mom made dinner, so I went to eat. My lipstick has mostly rubbed off because burger. I've gotten a lot of progress done, so I cut out all 6 of these. I cut out one, I tested the fit. It's a snug fit, but that's okay. That's kind of what I want. It's not gonna like shift around and move and everything. And because this stuff is kind of stiff and has a bit of a natural bend to it because it was folded up when it was in its bundle, I can, once it's in there, push it against the front of the bag, and that way it presses all of the pins straight up where they can be seen really, really nice and clearly. So this is ready to go. I've also pressed all of my fat quarters flat. I'm just gonna trace off each of these at 1 inch of seam allowance, cut them, serge the edges of the fabric, and trace the star onto the right side of the material for all 6. I'm gonna keep working on that. More work, let's go. So I figured I should explain to y'all how I'm transferring the exact placement of the star to the other side for top stitching. So what I'm doing is taking my initial pattern because it's more flexible, but also because I cut the star out of the middle of this version, laying this inside the actual pattern that I originally traced. Then I'm taking the star on which I have marked which one is the top, and I'm putting that in the middle of the cutout of the butcher paper, putting a pattern weight on it so it doesn't shift too much, holding it down and pulling the butcher paper back out of the way. From here, I am marking the top of the star with some pins. I'm doing it in such a way that I see exactly where the top of the point goes and which way the angles go as well, like so. I can pick this up, flip this over, I can put this right back down and line the top of the star up. I'm then gonna weigh this down and then just chalking around the free point of the star. So this one will look very much like this one, with the star already chalked onto it. I am done stitching the fabric onto all of them. So now, as you can see, I have already placed at least one pin on each of them. Our next step is to top stitch the star. Let's do some stars, shall we? Lipstick on my chin. Thank y'all so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and let me know down in the comments what sort of DIY projects you're working on right now. Do you know anyone else with an Ita bag? Maybe they'd enjoy this project. Send it their way. I really love how these panels turned out, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun continuing to use them as I keep collecting pins. You can find links to follow me on most social platforms at the link tree in the description, and if you really want to support my content moving forward, you can consider becoming a patron. It's only $1 a month. Links in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Keep it, my loves. Mwah!